Mazz's Tears.
Yeah, those are the tears of the clown.
Mazz's Tears.
The second tier. Hold on, let me get my pen.
Mazz's Tears.
Dallas. Buffalo. Tennessee.
Mazz's Tears.
Third tier. Okay, here we go. Hold on, let me get my pen.
Mazz's Tears. 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 Tears.
It's that time of the week, Mazz's Tears. And as usual, they're brought to you by the Bernardi Automotive Group. Come on in to any of Bernardi's 5 locations and save big during their Slam Dunk sales event. Whether it's a new Audi, Acura, Honda, Toyota, or Volvo, Bernardi has the perfect vehicle for you. And always at a great price. Maz, what do we got this week?
Mazz's Tears.
Kind of.
You guys don't like the 2 tiers. You mentioned this last week.
It's another 2-tier week?
Yeah, it is. That's why
Those aren't tiers.
Yes, you liked it so much. That's why I did it again.
I didn't say I liked it.
No, I know you didn't. That's why I did it again.
Summer of Mazz already started.
Yep, it sure has.
Damn straight it has. The range is open. We're ready to go.
Oh, my God. So we're going to... So these are the best and worst binary 1 or 2.
Yeah, so
we're going to create in real time, Murray, the top tier of Patriots drafts and the bottom tier of Patriots drafts.
So just to be clear, when you do best and worst, that's 2 tiers. You can't do best, medium, worst.
No,
I mean, you could, I guess.
Yeah, that's the whole point of tiers.
But best and worst is 2 tiers.
It's not 2 tiers.
It is.
It's yes or no.
Like there's Super Suck. That would be the 5th tier. And then the 4th tier would be like they suck, but maybe there would be
we're going to pick in real time the very best and the very worst.
We'll fix this.
Yeah, we'll fix them in real time.
The super suck. I like that. So we're going to start with the best tiers. That's going to be tier 1. And let me just say before we even get there that I generally volume counts in drafts, how many players. But I will also say that if you hit on real premium players, and I put an emphasis on Hall of Famers, that counts for something also. I put an emphasis on the upper half of the draft. Late round picks tend to be flyers.
Which is why you have one. I've already peeked ahead to one selection for the best that is just flat out wrong, but go ahead.
Okay, and it's not on the list to be one of the best. I'll explain why that one's on because I know the one you're talking about. Can you get all the bitching out now? Can you do that?
Nope, just starting.
Okay, let's go to top tier, best Patriots drafts. Best drafts, and I'm going to give you some of the premium names in this draft just to jog your memory. 1995, Ty Law, Ted Johnson, Curtis Martin, Jimmy Hitchcock, Dave Wohlabaugh. 5 players in that draft. They weren't all great, but the front 3 were awesome. Law's a Hall of Famer. Martin's a Hall of Famer. I think that's the best draft in Patriots history. 1976, Mike Haynes, Tim Fox, Pete Brock. Haynes, one of the great players of all time at his position, also a Hall of Famer. 73, John Hanna, Sam Cunningham, Darryl Stingley, Ray Hamilton. Again, John Hanna, Hall of Famer, volume in that draft, hard to beat. It was a tremendous draft. 77, Raymond Claiborne, Stanley Morgan, Don Hasselbeck, whom I included on the list because he just passed away, but had a serviceable career. Horace Ivory, also more of a third down back, sort of a change of pace back, but good player. The 2 at the front door really the ones, Claiborne and Morgan. I don't think Claiborne's in the Hall of Fame though, Mike, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
Haynes is.
Still one of the really good drafts in Patriots history though. 2001, I would say really 2 players, Richard Seymour, Matt Light, but Seymour was a Hall of Famer, huge part of those teams. 03, Ty Warren, Asante Samuel, Dan Copen, Eugene Wilson. It was largely a volume draft, but good players. 2010, Devin McCourty, Rob Gronkowski. 2012, Chandler Jones, Dante Hightower, both in the first round. Good draft. 2013, Jamie Collins, Logan Ryan, Deron Harmon. I was never a Harmon fan, but I think all 3 of those guys had 100 starts in the NFL. And to me, I also put a premium on 100 starts as sort of the threshold. 1981, Brian Holloway, Tony Collins, Don Blackman, Ron Wooten, Lynn Dawson, who was kind of a backup tight end, but the first 3 or 4 guys on that list, good, and Blackman was very good. And 2000, Tom Brady does not belong on the list.
This is the one that doesn't belong on the list.
Right, but I put it there just because people were going to bitch about it, and Brady was a 6th-round pick. It's worth mentioning.
Lucky.
Because he was in that draft.
Lucky.
But I would not call that one of the best drafts in Patriots history.
Lucky.
Sometimes you got to get lucky in the draft.
The guy falls into your lap in the 6th round. No. You only get credit if you target a guy, if you have an idea of what the guy's going to be, and then you get the credit. If the guy falls out of the sky in the 6th round, no. Nope. Sorry.
So I tend to agree with that. If you look at the list, you'll notice there were 10 and Brady is the 11th. I was going to drop Brady off, but I put it there because I knew we'd get a million calls about it. And so, but it's really not one of their best drafts.
They deserve credit. They determined he was a better option than Tim Rattay. That I'll give him credit for.
It's not even my biggest beef from these tiers, but go on.
What's your biggest beef?
So the 03 and 13 drafts, they're full of good to decent players that were just kind of like roster filler guys. Eugene Wilson, Dan Copen, like that's why there should be a tier 3.
03 was a good draft. Ty Warren was a good player. Asante Samuel was a good player. Those were Pro Bowl caliber. I'm not sure if they made Samuel. I'm sure did.
Yeah, good to decent players. That's why there should be other tiers.
Warren, well,
to have this lumped with like 1995 draft.
Exactly. This is the point, Murray. So the top tier. We'll just stick here for a second. The top tier
is 95 without question. I'm with Mazz. That's their best draft ever.
1973, 1995, 1976. 73. John Hanna, Sam Cunningham, Darryl Stingley, Ray Hamilton.
It was a good draft.
And listen, I'm not to like 95 is epic too. Law, Johnson, Curtis Martin, and then Jimmy Hitchcock and Dave Wallabaugh started. They
were
played
decent.
and started. They were contributors. Those were no bums. You went, if you look at it that way, 5 for 5 to lead off the draft in 1995, and then 76, as you mentioned, Haynes, Brock, Tim Fox. Those are top tier. You're right, Murray. 2003 does not deserve to be in the same tier as that. That's the whole point of tiers, but I guess we're not doing that anymore.
Well, we're not doing it today. Okay, we're not doing it today. Let's do best and worst. And those are the rules.
Let's get to the worst.
So we will, Murray, work on a bed for Felger's tiers, and we can do those another time. Pick those another day during the week. Now the worst drafts in Patriots history. 2019, that's the N'Keal Harry draft. Jawan Williams, Chase Winovich, those were the first 3 picks.
No, just stop. Just
no, all 3 of them, they aren't in football. These guys aren't in football anymore.
N'Keal Harry, Jawan Williams, Chase Winovich, Damian Harris, Yodny Kajust, Haji Froholt, Jared Stidham, which might have been the best pick in the entire card, Brian Cowart, Jake Bailey, Ken Webster. Easily the best 2 picks on that card are Stidham, who's still in the league, and Bailey.
And the punter.
I think that's right.
I don't think anyone else is still in the league.
No, it's garbage.
It was just a couple years ago.
Again, I only wrote the top 3 names on my own notes because I didn't want to go through all 7 in every draft, but it was garbage.
Oh, my God.
But Harry Williams and Winovich are not in football.
No, it was a horrible draft. I mean, you can't emphasize
it's
how
5 years ago. It's crazy. Or 6, whatever the hell it is.
So
now.
these are kind of in scattered order.
No, but this is another good one, Mazz. Give it to me.
Okay, 2007.
Can I give it to you, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Brandon Merriweather, who I thought was one of the most overrated Patriots or NFL players of my lifetime.
I'm with you.
Just a
undisciplined human missile.
Undisciplined cheap shot artist. Brandon Merriweather. I seem like a fun guy, though. Big bang clock and all that. Like,
very entertaining.
I'm fun with the guy, but Brandon Merriweather, Kareem Brown. I mean, you tell me if you can remember any of these other people.
No.
Brandon Merriweather, Kareem Brown, Clint Oldenburg, Justin Rogers, Mike Richardson, Justice Harrison, Corey Hillard, Oscar Lua, Mike Elgin. They drafted 9 guys.
Nope.
And not one of them could play with maybe Merriweather like every now and then. That was a horrible draft.
Yeah, atrocious.
Just don't say it at the time because you're just some sort of idiot contrarian. You're not just trying to actually do your job and commentate on what's happening.
It was a dreadful
You're
draft.
being a contrarian douchebag who's just being a contrarian. Okay, good. I'm glad we got that straight, but like I said, I'm not going to go there. Go ahead.
And they let Merriweather go at the end of his rookie contract. They did not re-sign him. 2017, this one has a little bit of an asterisk. I'll explain why in a moment, but that was the Derek Rivers, Antonio Garcia, Dietrich Wise, Connor McDermott draft. And the reason why I put an asterisk, one, Wise ended up being a serviceable player here, no question about that. But also, they only had 4 picks. That year, I don't think they had a first, a second, I think Rivers was a third-round pick, but they didn't have a first or a second. That was the Coney Ely draft.
Coney Ely and Brandon Cooks. They traded
Yes.
away all those picks for those guys. Yeah.
That's what you mentioned it the other day as the Coney Ely draft. That was the Coney Ely draft. 2018, Isaiah Wynn, Sony Michel, Jawan Bentley. Now, what did I say? Did I say 2018?
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought Wynn was a complete bust, frankly. He was supposed to be a tackle, never really played there. Michelle, you know how I felt about him from day one. Overrated, and you took him back in the first round. This one I could have left off the list because Bentley was decent. Bentley was decent here. I could have left this one off the list, but I threw it in there anyway. 2015, Malcolm Brown, Jordan Richards, Geno Grissom. Later in that draft, Trey Flowers and Shaq Mason.
Yeah, that kind of, and Joe Cardona if you want to throw him on there, which I know you don't.
But the top of that draft is not good.
So the top was bad, which is why I included again. I told you I put a premium on the first 3 rounds of the draft. 2006, Lawrence Maroney, Chad Jackson, Steven Gostkowski. Jackson was a bust. Maroney was a running back. Gostkowski was a kicker.
Let me give you more. Lawrence Maroney,
Sucked.
completely perfunctory, just a guy. Chad Jackson, massive bust. Dave Thomas was a tight end in the 3rd round. Garrett Mills was a tight end / like H-back in the 4th round. Useless. Gostkowski was a good pick. Ryan O'Callahan, Jeremy Mincy, Dan Stevenson, LaKevin Smith, Willie Andrews. At the time, there was some people who would look at that and go, that's actually not a good draft. And then 07 happened, and there were some people at the time who would say, boy, it doesn't feel like Bill's drafting very well. You know what you a-holes did? You would send me stat after stat and graphic after graphic that showed that the Patriots were one of the best drafting teams in the league. Oh, I guess no, good draft, Felger. That's why you need us to tell you what's what when it's unpopular. Sometimes the truth is unpopular, Patriots fans. But like I said, I'm not going there.
Lawrence Maroney wasn't even really that good.
Useless.
I couldn't stand him.
Useless. Sony Michel might have been better than Lawrence Maroney, but they were both useless, just another running back.
1997, Chris Canty, Brandon Mitchell, Cedric Shaw.
I hated that draft.
So,
The original Dancing Canty. Oh, he was terrible.
So
Go ahead.
These drafts were the immediate aftermath of Bill Parcells' departure. So they're also noteworthy for that reason because they went through about a 3-year period there after Parcells left where their drafts sucked, and this was that period.
Remember he'd make a tackle and he'd try to do like a Merton Hanks type of thing? Oh,
1997, okay, after Parcells leaves, he gives you all those draft picks. You've got all that powder. Chris Canty, Brandon Mitchell, Cedric Shaw, Chris Carter, Damon Denson, Ed Ellis, Vernon Crawford, Tony Gator, Scott Reinberg. One bag of suck after the next.
Yup.
That's got to be near the bottom. Go ahead.
1990, Chris Singleton, Ray Agnew, Tommy Hodson, first 3 rounds. I always mention
Singleton was 8 overall. Agnew was 10 overall.
Right.
And it's one of the worst drafts of all time.
And they had I think they had the number 3 pick in that draft, which they traded away to get 8 and 10. That pick ended up being Cortez Kennedy, who was a Hall of Fame defensive tackle. The Patriots botched that one epically, and I will say that Agnew went on to be a pretty decent player in the NFL, just not with the Patriots. The Giants got him, and he ended up being half decent. 1989, this is a good one. Hartley Dykes, Eric Coleman. Who? Marv Cook, Maurice Hurst. Now, look, Cook and Hurst played. They were, semi-regulars. But again, you sort of get those guys in the middle rounds and later part of the draft. I want to say Hurst was like a 4th or 5th rounder. But the top of the draft, garbage. 1986. This is one of my favorites. Reggie Dupont.
Oh, my God. Running back, SMU.
Oh, he was horrible. Reggie Dupont, Mike Ruth,
Oy.
Vency Glenn. Vency Glenn, another guy who went on to other organizations and played okay. Mike Ruth is notable because he had really short arms, which has been a theme. A lot of people at the time, do you remember? Ruth can't play in the NFL because he has short arms. No, the Pats took Ruth. Yeah, I like Ruth. You know what happened? He couldn't play because he had short arms. That was the problem. 1978, this is a good one too. Bob Kreider. Do you have any idea who that is?
Nope.
Matt Cavanaugh, who was a backup quarterback and was a backup throughout his career in the NFL, but a nobody. And some guy named Carlos Pennywell that I've never heard of.
They called him Los. So if we-
Glaring omission for me in the bads.
Go ahead.
92. Eugene Chung, the bad Rod Smith, the defensive back. Now, you got Sam Gash in that draft.
and Kevin Turner.
And Kevin Turner.
92 or 02?
92.
Oh,
I'm looking at it right now. So if we were properly tiering these, I think, whether they were technically the worst or not.
19 might be the worst of
okay.
the worst.
2019, 1997, just 97 stands out because Parcells had left and now it was just Bobby Greer and Pete Carroll and the rest of you, and you had no clue what you were doing. It was just laid bare. 2019 stands out because of what a target-rich environment that was, how many good receivers were available.
Right.
And you come home with a guy who he's not an NFL player. Like, those two would be in a tier by themselves.